No matter what I tried, I couldn't melt her heart. Yet I saw with my own eyes her walking into a couple's hotel, arm in arm, with her first love. When I got home that night, I didn't say much. I just placed a divorce agreement in front of her. She picked it up, brought it to her eyes, then put it on the table with trembling hands, and said angrily, "Tell me, why do you want a divorce?" I said angrily, "Then tell me, who can tolerate their wife being intimate with another man? Lin Yu, you know that we grew up together, almost like brother and sister. Let's get a divorce." Shen Jiayi didn't finish her sentence. I raised my hand to interrupt her. "Shen Jiayi, I have loved you for 10 years. Even if your heart were a stone, it should have warmed up by now. But you've been playing me for a fool. Lin Yu, it's not what you think." I sighed and said, "Your heart, or rather, have you ever loved me?" Shen Jiayi fell silent. I dare to swear I am innocent. I was just helping him with business. I am just a nobody, very ordinary. I also know deep down, you never respected me. Your father used money to control you, making our marriage stable. And then you used money to help Wang Yu. At this point I looked up angrily at Shen Jiayi, and you used my love for you to control me. What a perfect cycle. What a perfect tool I am, right? Haha, shame on you. My face was full of sorrow, and I laughed a bit crazily. Lin Yu, can you please calm down? I glared at Shen Jiayi and said word by word, "Don't deceive yourself, and don't deceive me. I know you've been waiting for him in your heart all along. You only didn't dare to propose divorce because of your father's pressure. In love, we are both losers. Continuing like this will lead to no good outcome. I am taking the initiative to propose divorce. Perhaps it will be easier for you in front of your father." The two fell into silence again. Shen Jiayi stared at the agreement in a daze. "Lin Yu, you can't do this to me. I gave you my youth." "Ha ha ha! Then my youth was wasted on a dog?" I leaned back and laughed loudly. Suddenly, I stood up. "Shen Jiayi, let me go, how about that? For the sake of 10 years sharing a bed, and 10 years of being your crook? Haha, I will only take what I bought myself. Rest assured, I won't take a penny of your money. What I'm taking includes my salary, clothes I bought, and my car. That's all." My words deeply hurt Shen Jiayi's pride, and seemed to tear away the last veil of decency. For years I had never treated her like this. I had always been silent. Even when I knew something, I never spoke of it, preserving our mutual dignity. But today I was so direct and unyielding that Shen Jiayi was very flustered. Moreover, my words made the extremely proud Shen Jiayi feel intense shame. In Shen Jiayi's world, who would ever dare speak to her like this? Shen Jiayi's hand holding the divorce agreement showed prominent knuckles. She picked up a pen, fiercely wrote her name, then turned and left the dining table, heading upstairs. I stood up, put the agreement in my backpack, packed my things and said, "Take care of yourself." Shen Jiayi on the stairs paused slightly, then hurried away and slammed the door to her room. I cleaned the table, washed the dishes, dried my hands, looked around the first floor, locked the front door, went upstairs to my room, and looked around. I looked at the rows of gifts neatly arranged on the bookshelf that Shen Jiayi had given me, recalling the memories associated with each one. Finally I went to Shen Jiayi's room door, then turned and went to the underground garage, opened the car door, got in, started the engine, waited for a while, lit a cigarette, and smoked. I called Fatty. "Come out for a drink with me," the usual place. I drove out. On the second floor, in the room I used to stay in, the lights were off. Shen Jiayi stood by the window for a very long time, watching from the moment I left the house until my taillights disappeared. At the private kitchen restaurant called Mother's. That night, I got completely drunk. I got myself drunk on purpose. I gave Fatty a hard time, and he finally managed to take me to a hotel, put a bottle of water on the nightstand, cleaned up a bit, and left. 4 days later, the sun was bright. Light filtered through the curtains, casting dappled spots on my body. If it weren't for years of working as an engineer, I would never have gotten up. I showered, ate breakfast, drove to the company. As soon as I arrived at the company, I heard there would be layoffs. Soon after, I was called into the manager's office. I put my cigarette in my pocket and walked in. In the afternoon, HR called me in, explained the compensation calculation, confirmed my years of service and the compensation amount, signed the papers, and then told me to come back tomorrow to complete the departure procedures. I was about to say goodbye to the place where I had worked for 10 years. It was the decade that marked the end of the naivety of school and the beginning of understanding the rules of society. It was the decade when ordinary people paid the price to learn the ways of the world. I came to the company to pack my personal belongings, picked up the departure forms, got signatures from HR, finance, and my department head. After completing the formalities, I said goodbye to my colleagues in the department. I bowed to everyone, thanking them for their cooperation. As I was leaving the building, my subordinate, Sister Hui, was already waiting for me in the parking lot, holding a black bag. I guessed it was cigarettes. I walked over to her, put the bag in the car, then turned and opened my arms to hug Sister Hui, patting her back as she cried on my shoulder. "Live well," I said to her, both in life and at work. I started the car, waved goodbye to her. Besides gratitude to the company and nostalgia for my youth, my heart felt heavy. but there were still things I needed to do to find peace. I sent a message to Ouyang Nana, asking for Wang Yu's phone number. Then I dialed Wang Yu's number. Hearing the noisy background, I said, "Wang Yu, let's meet." Wang Yu laughed first, then said, "At 2:30, at Bundao Coffee on Huadrong Street." Without waiting for my reply, I drove towards Huadrong Street. Arriving at Bundao Coffee, I found Wang Yu already sitting in a window-side booth. I ordered a latte and sat down next to her. After a moment of silence, I lowered my head and said, "I signed the divorce agreement with Shen Jiayi." Wang Yu stirred her coffee with a spoon. "You should have left her a long time ago. You shouldn't have married her. You're not good enough for her. If she didn't marry me, she wouldn't get her allowance to support herself." I taunted her back sarcastically. Wang Yu glared at me disdainfully and turned back to continue stirring her coffee. Wang Yu sneered, "You fool in love, an incompetent man. Women can only be won over by deception, you idiot. She has been waiting for you. I know I'm not good enough for her. But you're not good enough either. You're an idiot. You're the garbage among garbage, the dregs of society, the scum of the earth." Wang Yu's breathing became heavy, pushing him to the edge of rage. I continued, "But I still envy you. Isn't it ironic? A so-called model youth like me actually envies a piece of trash like you. How utterly ironic." Wang Yu laughed after hearing this. "You're just a hillbilly. What do you know about a woman's heart?" Wang Yu curled her lips. "Since you're divorced now, let me teach you. Women are meant to be lied to. They pursue the strong, are used to being led and conquered. You need to learn to control the rhythm, mix it up, fool around a bit, you know? Only then can you win over a woman's heart. In short, you're just trash." Wang Yu's nose flared with disdain. She probably thought she was a master at playing women, and enjoyed teaching others. After thinking for a moment, she added, "A woman like Shen Jiayi will never like an honest man. They only like rascals, because only rascals can stir their inner desires. It doesn't matter if a woman doesn't have you in her heart. Even if you sleep with her for 100 years." I nodded numbly and gestured for her to continue. Wang Yu paused, took a sip of coffee, and said, "When a woman like that wants to conquer or reform a man she thinks is a rascal, that's when she's done for. She falls into the trap of love. That's always been the rule." Wang Yu, as if winning a battle, began to speak eloquently, starting from when she and Shen Jiayi grew up together. I sadly interrupted her speech, looked up at Wang Yu, and asked, "Do you really love her?" Wang Yu's inner struggle showed. She had loved too many women in her life. Surely Shen Jiayi wasn't her deepest love. Otherwise, she would have changed her ways long ago, and at least given Shen Jiayi some hope. I added, "Don't lie to me now, I only want the truth." Wang Yu cautiously thought for a moment, then said, "I love her, but she's not my greatest love. Money is the most important thing to me. I want to restore my family's glory." I said angrily, "A despicable person, using a woman's feelings as a means to an end, just for that." Wang Yu just sneered again. I turned away in anger, got into my car, lit a cigarette, pulled out my phone, and used WeChat to send the recording of our conversation to myself. At a certain chain hotel in Bingchen, morning sunlight shone on my body as the alarm rang. I found a local tour group in Bingchen and followed them around. Although I had lived in Bingchen for many years, I had never really taken a close look at this beautiful city. After marrying Shen Jiayi, she was always busy and never had the leisure to walk around with me. My mood gradually improved. Time flew by, and the day for the divorce drew nearer. Finally, the day arrived. It was time to say goodbye to the past. A new life was about to begin. I opened WeChat and found the contact. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. at the Civil Affairs Bureau. The next day, I cleaned up, drove out, and arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau half an hour later, waiting for Shen Jiayi. At 7:58, Shen Jiayi got out of her Porsche Panamera and slowly walked towards the entrance. We hadn't seen each other for a month. She still looked noble, calm, knowledgeable, and independent. I waited for Shen Jiayi until she reached the door. We walked side by side without saying a word. Shen Jiayi glanced at me and then looked away. We walked in together, took a number, queued, entered the mediation room, waived mediation, submitted documents, and filled out forms. The staff member asked, "Are both of you divorcing voluntarily?" "Yes," they answered in unison. They signed and received the divorce certificates. After leaving the building, they walked to Shen Jiayi's car. Both stopped. "Take care of yourself." I took a deep look at Shen Jiayi. Seeing Shen Jiayi's red lips part slightly, before she could speak, I walked towards my own car. "Lin Yu," Shen Jiayi called out to me. The sound of high heels came from behind. Shen Jiayi quickly caught up and hugged me from behind. Facing the separation from the man she had lived with for 10 years, Shen Jiayi couldn't contain the complex emotions inside her. Whether it was regret for me, self-blame, or fear of her established life being broken, she wanted to say a proper goodbye and give me a hug. "Give me a hug, okay?" came Shen Jiayi's voice from behind me. Her voice and her body were trembling slightly. I turned around and looked at Shen Jiayi, her long eyelashes, her narrow eyes, slightly red. I opened my arms and pulled her into an embrace, holding her tightly for a moment. Then I patted her back, pushed her shoulders gently, looked at her delicate face, and softly said, "If there is a next life, let's be strangers." Slowly, I pushed Shen Jiayi away and turned resolutely, not stopping despite the sobs behind me. I thought I was strong enough to face this moment. People often think that, but reality is different. Sitting in my car, I couldn't help but sigh. A wrong relationship is ultimately useless, ultimately leaves you with nothing. I started the car and drove away resolutely. 10 years ago today, we registered here. I can still remember that scene clearly. 10 years later today, we divorced here. I wished I could forget these 10 years. If the spring breeze carries the meaning of the lotus, can it grant me another youth? If there is a next life, the next day, at the entrance of Dragon King Village, tall old poplar trees waved their palm-sized leaves, full of vitality, a stark contrast to my current mood. The trees in the village blocked the view of the houses. Only the tips of the two-story roofs were visible. Dragon King Village faces the sea to the west. It takes about half an hour to walk from the village to the beach. As the saying goes, by the mountains, live on the mountains. By the sea, live on the sea. On the road, I saw many people driving electric tricycles back from the sea. Auntie Wu, what did you get today? I rolled down my window and asked my neighbor, Auntie Wu. Little fish is back. Get some yellow flowers? I'll give you a bottle, Auntie Wu said warmly. Thank you, Auntie. We have some at home. You must be tired after a long day. Go home and rest. Thank you. I quickly ended the conversation, not daring to continue with Auntie Wu. If I did, she would soon ask why Shen Jiayi didn't come back, if we had a fight, etc. As long as I answered, the whole village would know before dinner. No media outlet is faster than the village gossip network. Back when Shen Jiayi and I got engaged, the whole village knew in less than an hour. I know from experience, when passing the village entrance, you have to move quickly. If an acquaintance stops you, make an excuse and escape. The Village Gossip Network is truly a non-profit, spontaneously organized, highly efficient institution, especially the middle-aged aunts in headscarves. They are, in some ways, more effective than war correspondents, especially when it comes to privacy. But what I feared more was still ahead. I drove into my yard. On the east side of the yard was a small vegetable garden, with all kinds of seasonal vegetables growing beautifully. Zhang Fengying heard the noise and looked out from the living room. Seeing me back, she quickly came out to greet me. Seeing that I had returned alone, she asked directly, "Little fish, why are you back by yourself?" I said in a low, muffled voice, "He's busy. No time." Zhang Fengying helped me carry things inside. "Why are you buying so many things when it's not a holiday?" "I missed you, since I haven't been back for quite a while," I said. Hearing her son say this, Zhang Fengying finally smiled. "Mom, sit down. Let me talk to you." Zhang Fengying smiled warmly. I clearly explained the causes and consequences of the divorce to my mother. Zhang Fengying was stunned for a long time, unable to react. Then she went back to her room and didn't come out again. Worried that my mother might be alone in her room and something might happen, I went in to check. As soon as I entered my mother's room, a broomstick hit me. Zhang Fengying, heartbroken, reached out and hugged her son's head, patting it continuously, like when she used to put him to sleep as a child. If it weren't for her own obsession, her son wouldn't have ended up like this. A perfectly handsome young man had aged into a middle-aged man, left no descendants, and ended up like this. Tears immediately flowed freely. She said softly, "My son, I'm so sorry." A few days later, the compensation finally arrived. Overjoyed, I immediately transferred the money to my mother's bank card. I opened WeChat. Sender, Ice Cube, transfer of 8888. Sister, take the red envelope. Your little brother recently came into some money. Ice Cube has accepted your transfer. Thank you, little brother. Red lips. I smiled knowingly. Everyone loves money. On the 5th day back home, I decided it was time to leave. I had always envied others' journeys to far-off places in videos. Amid my mother's nagging, I drove to the airport. First destination, Guilin. The saying goes, Guilin's scenery is the best under heaven. Departing from Dingcheng Airport, one connecting flight, travel time nearly 6 hours. When I passed by the house that my ex-wife and I used to share, I pulled over and looked inside. There weren't many people on the road at noon. People often don't want to face a painful past. How to choose? The wealthy people living in this upscale neighborhood each have their secrets. I ran to the door, panting, and said to the old man next to me, "Uncle Shay, it's me, Shaolian. Is Shen Jiayi inside?" Thick smoke was already billowing from the entrance. The old man shook his head. I took the bucket of water from his hand, poured it all over myself, and rushed inside. I arrived at the first floor entrance, grabbed the door handle, and pulled outward. It didn't open. I ran to the window and looked inside. I couldn't hear any voices or see anyone. On the first floor stairs, big flames were roaring with thick smoke. What to do? What to do? My whole body was trembling. I pried a brick from the flower bed in the yard, aimed it at the door glass, and smashed it. Once, twice, 3 times. The glass shattered. I reached my hand in, turned the lock, pulled open the door, and rushed in. Shen Jiayi wasn't on the first floor. I went down to the basement. The redwood stairs from the basement to the first floor were already on fire. The sofa and redwood coffee table in the basement living room were also engulfed in flames. Damn my former father-in-law for using so much high-quality wood. Without thinking too much, I rushed down. "Hey, Shen Jiayi, where are you?" The basement had no ventilation and was filled with thick smoke. I thought, go to the entertainment room, maybe she's there. The feeling of suffocation grew stronger. I pushed hard against the double doors of the karaoke room. They didn't budge. They must be in there. Gathering my strength, I kicked the redwood door. It opened. There was much less smoke inside. I saw Shen Jiayi holding her nose, motionless under the bar counter. On the sofa against the wall, there were 2 men and 1 woman, also unconscious, holding their noses. One of the men was Wang Yu. I wanted to make sure Shen Jiayi was okay, so I hurried forward, picked her up in my arms, looked at her tear-stained face, and ran out. I dodged the flames on the handrails, afraid they might burn Shen Jiayi. Finally, I climbed to the first floor, rushed out the door, and placed her by the flower bed. I found a neighbor's water and put out the flames on my pants. I splashed some clean water on Shen Jiayi's face. Shen Jiayi slowly woke up. I patted her face and called her name. Seeing her eyelids move, I pressed a little harder. Shen Jiayi slowly opened her eyes, and her pupils gradually focused. Shen Jiayi, who am I? Lin Yu. 2 streams of tears immediately flowed down. I smiled, panting heavily, then said, good, you're awake. Then I immediately put on a cold face and scolded. I told you to take care of yourself. Look at what you've done. Is your fairy tale that much fun? Shen Jiayi choked up at my words. Don't cry like that, you idiot. I poured water on myself again and went back to rescue the others. I carried the woman out first. She was weak, and I was afraid she would suffocate. Shen Jiayi, with tears on her face, watched my disheveled state and couldn't help but say tremblingly, Lin Yu, are you okay? Don't push yourself if you can't do it. My face was covered in black soot, almost like an African. I revealed my white teeth, turned my head, and gave Shen Jiayi a contemptuous glance. You know, if I hadn't rushed in, you wouldn't have had a chance to live. As the words fell, I poured more water on myself and rushed back in. Shen Jiayi hadn't thought about it that way in her panic. After I said that, she was suddenly shocked, her whole body trembling uncontrollably. I left Wang Yu, that dog of a man, for last. On the first floor at the entrance, thick smoke was rolling out. I groped my way down. When I got to the stairs between the first floor and the basement, several of the steps had broken off from my previous trips. I gritted my teeth and pressed on. After all, a life is a life. I put him on my shoulder and crawled up little by little. My whole body ached unbearably. My lungs felt like they were being pierced by needles. Dizziness kept washing over me. I felt like I was about to explode. My physical strength was severely depleted, and I was starting to hallucinate. On the last step from the basement to the first floor, victory was in sight. I rushed forward with all my might and fell to the ground on the first floor, along with the man on my shoulder. The man groaned a few times. I groaned a few times too. It hurt so much. It hurt so much, I was exhausted. Gritting my teeth, ignoring the crack in my arm, I struggled to lift the man again. I was about to see the light when my foot slipped and we both fell again. The man on my shoulder fell first, and I followed right after. As I was about to hit the ground, my head collided with his, and I lost consciousness. I don't know how long passed. Lin Yu, are you okay? Should we go to the hospital? Shen Jiayi asked nervously. I didn't answer. Finally, the fire trucks arrived. Firefighters with masks and hoses rushed in and sprayed water. Ambulances also arrived. They kept spraying water into the basement. Finally, the firefighters could go down to the basement. I also slowly came to. I sat up dizzily and saw Shen Jiayi not far away, arguing with the woman I had rescued first. I struggled to stand up, checked my body. Seemed like nothing too serious. I walked over to them. After listening for a moment, I understood. The woman had brought Wang Yu, that dog of a man, without Shen Jiayi's permission, and then tried to mediate. I guess the mediation failed. And then Wang Yu set the fire, either to dial together or to play the hero saving the damsel in distress. Lin Yu, you're awake. How do you feel? Should we go to the hospital? I looked at Wang Yu on the ground. The medical staff had already given him oxygen and first aid. His blackened face revealed a set of white teeth. I said to Shen Jiayi, be careful of fire, theft, and best friends. Look at your childhood friend and your best friend. What a waste of food. Shut up, you hillbilly. Who do you think you are to judge me? Shen Jiayi's best friend said. I thought you're the one who's really something. Just then, Shen Jiayi raised her hand and slapped her best friend hard across the face. A red handprint instantly appeared. She turned to look at me. Lin Yu. I smiled sarcastically and shook my head. Shen Jiayi, I wish you both happiness. Then I turned and calmly walked into the crowd. In the crowd, I turned my head, smiled, and walked away. As the plane took off and climbed, the strong thrust pushed me back into my seat, which I found a bit exciting. I thought, if bungee jumping is even more exciting, there's a saying, if you're going to jump, wouldn't that be even more exciting? I raised my hand and looked at the time. Suddenly, I noticed a problem. The watch on my wrist, I forgot to return it to Shen Jiayi. She had given it to me when we got engaged. I had worn it for over 10 years, even though she later gave me many famous brand watches. I made a decision, after landing, find an express delivery point and send it back to her. For a clean break, one must be thorough. Since I had been resting well recently, I didn't feel tired for a short time. I ate, drank, slept, and walked around the cabin the whole way. Finally free. Under the resentful gaze of the tour guide lady recommended by the minister, I settled the bill with the local tour guide I had chosen and walked out of the restaurant. The local tour guide's name was Milan. I let Milan arrange all the activities. That night, I checked into an inn. It looked ancient from the outside, but inside it was quite luxurious, probably 4-star level. The key thing was, it was very cheap, because Milan had a discount. The price was $398, almost half price. I was very satisfied. On the third day, the itinerary was the 10-mile gallery, and a bamboo raft on the Yulong River. The captain was a typical Guilin native, deep-set eyes, a mouth full of white teeth, and a clean smile. I thought it might be related to the environment. Living in such a beautiful place, smiles come so naturally. Indeed, each place truly shapes its people. On the third day, we finally went to Silver Cave. A popular saying there is, if you leave silver in Silver Cave, you will never lack money for a lifetime. So, I wish everyone prosperity. Unknowingly, a week had passed. My body was tired, but it felt as if my soul and spirit had been half cleansed. I liked it here, and had no plans to leave, for now. So I first transferred 20,000 yuan to Milan, which was 20 days' wages, and tried not to change the itinerary too much. Milan was so happy she kissed me on the cheek. We were just having lunch. I was full, leaning back in my chair, picking my teeth with a toothpick. Suddenly I remembered the thrill on the airplane, and immediately sat up straight. Milan, is there a bungee jumping place here? I want to go bungee jumping this afternoon. Milan slowly swallowed the food in her mouth, wiped her lips with a napkin, and said, yes, there are 2 places. One is on a river, and one is on a high mountain. Brother Lin, which one do you prefer? Which one is closer? I thought, it would be convenient to go back. After bungee jumping, today's itinerary would be over. I could go back to the hotel and do something else. Milan said the one on the mountain was closer. Good, let's go there. I paid the bill, and we took a car. More than an hour later, we arrived at the bungee jumping park. I paid, answered questions about medical history, and confirmed everything. Milan, do you dare to try? If you want to, I'll pay. Milan shook her head. I've had enough. When I said that, I gave her a thumbs up. Milan stood outside, watching me and smiling occasionally. While the staff was attaching a buckle, I noticed that the safety lock's hook looked a bit deformed. I asked them to replace it. One staff member said, out-of-towner, don't worry. This thing is used hundreds of times a day. With your weight, it's no problem. I was a bit doubtful. Okay, you're the boss. I fastened the safety harness and slowly moved to the edge of the platform. My heart started pounding like a drum, getting faster and faster. It was indeed thrilling. I shouted, reborn, and then closed my eyes and jumped. I felt the wind whooshing past my ears. My adrenaline surged. I could barely breathe. Milan's heart was pounding just watching from above. At the lowest point, just as everyone was waiting for the rebound, the lock snapped. I knew it was too late. 4 words flashed through my mind. Splat on the ground. Then Milan heard a thud. I didn't even have time to scream. Brother Lin! Milan screamed and cried in despair. She couldn't accept that a living person had disappeared before her eyes, especially after traveling together for so many days. Little fish, wake up! Little fish, you lazy brat, get up! You're about to go to college. How can you still be so lazy? A loud, sharp voice blasted in my ears. My body felt like it was pinned down by a nightmare. In a daze, I looked to the bedside. It was my mom. I closed my eyes again and said casually, Mom, let me sleep a little longer. My whole body hurts and has no strength. Zhang Fengying glanced at me as I lay there, came to the bedside, felt her son's forehead, then walked away angrily. At that moment, fragments of memories were chaotically playing in my mind. Strangely, the blueprints from the company were so clear in my mind, as if copied into my brain. The floor plans, the 3D assembly drawings, the process drawings. Then the image froze at the moment the safety strap broke. Damn that staff member for not believing my judgment. I must tell my family and friends, don't easily seek thrills. Even with a safety harness on, it's not safe. And jumping from such a height, wait a minute. I quickly touched the back of my head. It was intact. That shouldn't be possible. I struggled to sit up and looked around. This was my room. The huge Kobe Bryant poster. Where was my phone? When I saw the silver Nokia 6600 by the bed, I remembered it was a reward for my mom after the college entrance exams when I got the acceptance letter. I could feel my heart pounding. I jumped out of bed. Mom! Mom! What's wrong with you? Not awake yet? Hungry? Wash up and eat. Looking at Zhang Fengying's young face, without a single white hair, her temples still black, I said, Mom, am I dreaming? Pinch me, quick! What are you going crazy about? Still not awake? Zhang Fengying looked at her son suspiciously. Mom, pinch me. Looking at me like I was sleepwalking, Zhang Fengying twisted my ear and then flicked it. Mom, let go! That hurts! I bared my teeth. Zhang Fengying let go and looked at her son, who seemed mentally ill, with disdain. I rubbed my sore ear. The pain slowly subsided. Mom, hug your son. I just had a nightmare. 2 streams of tears immediately flowed down my face like beads off a broken string. Zhang Fengying reluctantly pulled her son's head to her chest. I leaned down so my mother could reach my neck. As she held him, Zhang Fengying noticed her son's mood was off and started patting him. The grieving me confirmed the fact that I had been reborn. The mother's embrace was just as warm as before the rebirth. I was happy thinking that my parents were still young. I wiped my tears. Mom, what's for breakfast? See for yourself. You're so grown up, still crying in your mother's arms? And you a college student? Zhang Fengying turned to get the food, muttering as she walked, Mom, even when you're 90, you're still my mom. Now eat quickly. Less nonsense. I wolfed down my food, eating 3 big bowls of cornmeal porridge in a row, which finally relieved my weakness. After I finished eating, I washed the dishes, went to the yard, looked around at the familiar yard, then bowed respectfully to the sky, thanking heaven for giving me another chance at life. I kept calling out system in my mind. After more than half an hour of futile calling, I gave up. Never mind. This is better. Let me live a true version of myself. Only a thin strip of light remained on the horizon. Smoke was rising from the chimneys of the neighbors' houses in the village. Lin Zhengguo had already returned from the sea. Today, he had pulled several swimming crabs and red claw crabs from his traps. There would be a good meal tonight. You silly boy, still daydreaming? I happily asked. Mom, how should we cook the swimming crabs and red claw crabs? You don't do anything all day, and you have the nerve to ask? I held my head. Damn my mouth. Tomorrow at noon a guest is coming. Get up early and go to town to buy some groceries. Who's coming to our house? You know her, Manhwa. She came to our house when you were in middle school. She bought you clothes and books, remember? Yeah, vaguely. I felt terrible. I didn't understand before my rebirth, during this time after the college entrance exams, Mother Shen hadn't come to visit. Was this my own doing? In the past, wouldn't she just make a phone call? Did she have to come in person? Better to hide. Hide where? What excuse? Little fish, get up, go buy groceries. Did you hear me? I jolted awake and immediately sat up. I stood by the window, pushed it open, and looked out at the village from the second floor. Life was vibrant and green. I shouted, It's good to be alive. Zhang Fengying poked her head out from the first floor entrance, tilted her head, and looked at me sideways. Get down here. Okay, Mom. No way around it. Zhang Fengying controlled the finances. As for being able to bow my head and not be happy about it, I didn't even want to think about it. The pressure from bloodline and finances was truly absolute. I ate breakfast quickly, then hopped on my motorcycle and left. The motorcycle I was riding was a Suzuki 100 series automatic. Simple to ride, good handling. Sometimes Suzuki could really ride. Riding the motorcycle, I enjoyed the warm, pleasant breeze against my face. Little fish, you've grown so much. Come, let me have a good look at you, and we can chat for a while. Zhang Fengying couldn't hide her smile when she saw this. I looked at my mother with a resentful gaze. Zhang Fengying pretended not to notice. I heard you're also going to Fengcheng for school. My daughter is studying at Fengcheng Normal University. She'll be a junior when school starts, Dong Wenhua said, her voice unhurried, gentle as water, very reassuring. And at this moment, my middle-aged former mother-in-law looked dignified, wealthy, and elegant. I still respected my former mother-in-law in my heart. She had truly treated me like her own son. But thinking of Shen Jiayi, my heart immediately darkened. Yes, my mom says she's a top student. I should learn from her. Zhang Fengying steamed the swimming crabs while eavesdropping. Dong Wenhua hadn't stopped chatting since she arrived. She looked at me with a satisfied smile, her expression even more affectionate, clearly looking at me like a son-in-law. I was extremely annoyed. She and Zhang Fengying were public enemy number 1. Shen Jiayi was the executioner. None of the 3 were good people. Just wait. I'll deal with each one in turn. I thought, in my previous life, I was ruined by you, Zhang Fengying, and your daughter. And now you're back? If it weren't for the divorce, I wouldn't have gone to relax. If I hadn't gone to relax, I wouldn't have sought thrills, wouldn't have jumped. In this life, I will do 2 things. 1, not be your son-in-law. 2, not bungee jump. You troublemakers, I'm going to get some clothes and take a shower. Wait a minute. The 2 said in unison, what's wrong? I looked at these 2 troublemakers. Dong Wenhua and Zhang Fengying exchanged glances. Zhang Fengying spoke. Jiayi, is she sleeping in your room? I was certain at this moment, and barely managed to control my expression. Having been a section chief for over 10 years, I couldn't handle the shock. Somewhat unhappily, I said, fine, talk about it later. Mom, I'll go greet her. After walking out the door where no one could see me, my face darkened. I didn't open the door until I returned with Lin Zhengguo. Dong Wenhua called Shen Jiayi down for dinner. On the first floor, the entrance was the living room and kitchen. The dining table was in the living room. The living room was to the west, the kitchen to the east. I was helping serve the dishes when I saw them coming down the stairs. My gaze met them. Although calm inside, I still took the initiative to greet them. Hello, my name is Lin Yu. Just call me Xiao Yu. Shen Jiayi was a bit stunned because my tone was distant. Hello, nice to meet you. I brought you a gift. Wait a moment. She only paused for a second, then immediately regained her calm demeanor. She spoke more than before, and her words were more numerous. A young girl's youth is full of vitality. Watching Shen Jiayi run off, her ponytail bobbing up and down, she looked a bit free and easy, a bit cute, less cold and aloof than in her previous life, and more down to earth. She came back with 2 boxes and 4 shopping bags. These are 2 sets of athletic wear for you. These are 2 pairs of shoes. The sizes are the same as Xiao Yu's. Go try them on. Her red lips parted slightly, and she spoke slowly, her voice crisp. As the ancient said, large and small pearls falling onto a jade plate. It must be like this. I took them with both hands. Thank you. I put the things in a corner of the living room. Everyone sat down at the table. Jiang Fengying used serving chopsticks to put food on Shen Jiayi's plate. I wrinkled my nose slightly, looking at my mother's obsequious behavior with disgust. As we ate, we chatted, reminiscing about the elders' younger days and the passage of time. I occasionally joined in, mostly telling stories from the 60s to the 80s. For people of that era, just surviving was an achievement. After dinner, in the summer, people in the countryside would go out for a stroll or watch TV. The village media center was definitely very lively. My family and the Shen mother and daughter chose to stay in our yard. I lit mosquito repellent, and we chatted sentence by sentence. Sister Yingzi, Xiaoye is younger than Jiayi, right? Mother Shen asked. Yes, 3 years younger. He was born in 82, she in 85. Shen Jiayi had been subtly checking me out all night. The night was deep, I hadn't noticed. Hearing them say this, sensing an impending bombshell, I quickly interjected. Auntie Dong, do you only have one child? Yes, when I returned to the city and married her father. First there was the one-child policy, and second, we were both busy with work, so just Jiayi. Mother Shen looked at me, very satisfied with my personality and family type. I confirmed it. Then have you considered having another son? How about I become your adopted son? Then you'll have another son. Our family only has me, so I'd have a sister too. I wouldn't be so lonely. No way, both mothers said in unison. I asked, puzzled. The scene was awkwardly silent for a while. Jiang Fengying looked at me and said, when you two were born, your grandparents arranged a betrothal, a childhood engagement. Dong Manhwa nodded in agreement. Shen Jiayi turned to look elsewhere, silent. I said, so that's why you were so eager back then? And with the Shen family's good conditions, you still haven't changed your mind? Damn. I looked at my own mother, then at my father, then at Mother Shen, confirming it was true. Then I tested the waters on the edge of death. I said to Jiang Fengying, Mom, I have someone I like. Jiang Fengying's eyes widened, her finger pointing at me. Say that again? I have someone I like, I said in a low voice. Say that one more time. Jiang Fengying's voice grew colder, her fingers curled back, and her hands pressed on her knees. Knowing my mother, this was a precursor to action, so I quickly said, no, I was just joking, but then I suddenly stood up, and said seriously, but my sister should have a boyfriend, right? And their family backgrounds should match. Mom, don't try to force a match, and Auntie Dong, my sister and her boyfriend are very familiar to you, right? Jiang Fengying glared at me, then looked at Dong Manhwa and Shen Jiayi. Get lost, go take a shower, and sleep in the west room on the first floor. Okay, I answered, and then ran away. The situation? 2 Adidas, 2 Nikes. Put on socks and shoes, they fit perfectly. 1 Adidas set, 1 Nike set, unknown brand jeans plus 2 t-shirts. Really luxurious for me now. My ex-wife was still so beautiful, still so cool and aloof, but not yet so domineering. In this life, I don't want anything from Shen Jiayi, so facing my former wife, I felt very calm inside. No inferiority, no longing, just a bit more carefreeness. The weather was hot. Sleeping at night, the countryside was still quite stuffy. Only electric fans or hand fans. But the peace of the countryside, no one can look down on me. In my previous life, without my father-in-law's help, I wouldn't have married Shen Jiayi. After all, money can move the gods. But then again, the old people's judgment was really accurate. I think I'm a good family man. Shen Jiayi is blind. It's not my loss. Well, it is a loss. 10 years. This is mutual hurt. I crouched down to light the fire. The summer sunlight made the fire feel even hotter. Looking up at my mother cooking, I thought about how to convince her. Don't force it, Mom. You'll kill your son. In the past, did the rich landlord's daughter ever fall for a day laborer or a farmhand? I asked a soul-searching question. Jiang Fengying gave me a disgusted look and continued cooking, meaning, what do you know? In her eyes, I was still a little kid. Mom, in your time, would a live-in son-in-law get beaten in his wife's family? Did he eat better than a dog? Ignoring my mother's killing intent, I continued my magical attack. Jiang Fengying's hand holding the spatula paused for a moment, then continued stir-frying, not hitting the dog. I heard the sound of the steel spatula hitting the iron wok, the rhythm getting faster and the sound louder. I could tell she was listening, otherwise it wouldn't be so noisy. I asked my third soul-searching question. Mom, in the past, did the live-in son-in-law sleep on the floor, or in the cowshed? Jiang Fengying thought about the first 2 questions, and then the third. Damn it. It felt like he was trying to push me into a fire pit. Of course, he didn't know that he was the one pushing his son into the fire pit. But she was still furious. A son is his mother's heart. Whoever dares to treat her son like this, she would fight to the death. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. She kicked my stool, knocking her son off balance. Ouch! Mom, what are you doing? I said in a whiny voice, with an innocent expression. Jiang Fengying immediately felt something was wrong. Be normal. Okay, Mom, I said meekly, as obedient as a pet. I then continued. And her boyfriend is real. She didn't deny it at all. And they grew up together. You understand? What do you want to do? Zhang Fengying had the illusion that her son had recently been slipping out of her control, advancing and retreating, as if being played. Don't get mad, but their family is too rich, and her looks and education are so outstanding. Why would she choose your son? Even if she did, you wouldn't be able to handle her. I want to persuade you to give up on this idea. I paused for a breath. In other words, given the Shen family's conditions and Shen Jiayi's own conditions, the sons of wealthy or powerful families will be lining up. Mom, society has classes. Our family isn't rich, but we're comfortable and respectable. I want to discuss this with you. Don't force it, okay? Zhang Fengying put the vegetables in a dish and covered it with a larger plate to keep warm. Mom, say something, okay? Seeing my mother ignore me, I asked again. Go pick me 2 tomatoes. I pursed my lips helplessly. Could my mother listen? I gave the tomatoes to my mother. I came to the yard to help my father mend the fishing net. There were a few holes. Father needed to patch them. I took out a cigarette and offered one to my father, then lit one for myself and smoked. I looked at my father's face, which didn't have as many wrinkles as in his previous life, and my mood immediately improved. Lin Zhengguo turned slightly, looked away from the distance, looked at me and said, "You didn't fancy that girl?" "No. It's that I'm not good enough for her. Her family, looks, education, I can't compare. If we got married, both our families and everyone involved would be unhappy. The most important thing is that she has a childhood sweetheart boyfriend. They've been together since they were toddlers right up to now. They've never broken up. I wouldn't agree to that, and neither would anyone else, right, Dad?" Lin Zhengguo took a deep drag on his cigarette, exhaled and said, "You've grown up. Dad is getting old. I agree with your point of view. Tell me about your mother." "Okay, Dad." Lin Zhengguo regretted complimenting the dog just now. This kid. The father and son worked together. In my previous life, I didn't cherish this, but now he was extraordinarily serious because he was very happy. In my room on the 2nd floor, Shen Jiayi stood on the balcony, watching the Lin father and son busy in the yard. The corners of her mouth turned up. Her lively eyes sparkled with an unknown light. Mother Shen appeared behind her at some point. "Jiayi, so distracted. He's a good young man, isn't he?" "Mom, what are you saying? I'm hungry. Can we eat now?" "The meal has been ready for a while. Let's go." At the breakfast table, tomato and egg soup, beef buns, fried dried radish, cornmeal porridge, then boiled eggs. Perhaps due to the energy demands of rebirth or mutation, I felt like I was becoming a glutton. After cleaning the table and digesting for a while, we chatted. When guests are in the house, the host family won't ask them to leave unless the guests propose it themselves. I sighed inside. This wasn't over yet. I've decided to hang out with the old man today and hide for a while. Seeing Lin Zhengguo preparing his things for going to sea, I followed behind. Not long after, Zhang Fengying shouted, "Little fish, come back." "Okay," I answered readily, but I was unhappy inside. What new trick was this? But I moved quickly and soon returned to the living room to wait. "Jiayi wants to go to the harbor. Take her with you. See if you can find some good stuff." "Got it." I finally looked directly at Shen Jiayi. Denim skirt, unknown brand. White t-shirt, unknown brand. Watch, none of it suitable for going to sea. Damn. I said, "Mom, give me your sun hat. Find a set of my junior high school summer uniform, a clean set." I turned to Shen Jiayi and said, "Sister, you need to wear a hat, long sleeves, take off your watch, and wear gloves. Otherwise you'll get sunburned and scratched. Do you have sneakers?" Shen Jiayi looked at my serious expression and replied, "The sneakers are in the car. I'll do everything else as you say." "Okay, I'll get you some gloves, then we'll leave. Mom, give me a pair of your sleeve covers." Dong Wenhua's eyes lit up. What a considerate pig. So thoughtful and well arranged. She was about to say, "Go ahead, take my cabbage." "You're thinking too much, Mom. Little fish will never covet your iron-headed cabbage. Whoever wants to covet it, can covet it. To be honest, I don't even want to look at your cabbage. I'm quite annoyed by it. What I was thinking, no one else knew." After Shen Jiayi got ready, the two set off. Lin Zhengguo had already left earlier. I led Shen Jiayi, following in my father's footsteps. I walked in front, Shen Jiayi half a step behind, constantly looking at the young man's back. Near the seaside village, the sea breeze was a bit strong. Shen Jiayi's eyes were a bit red. I walked in front, not knowing. The two walked in silence. I was neither overly enthusiastic, nor too cold. Shen Jiayi broke the silence. "Lin Yu, are you enrolled at Fengcheng University? What major?" "Fengcheng University, Mechanical and Electronic Engineering." Shen Jiayi continued, "Have you been to Fengcheng?" "I've already made plans to go with a classmate." "Thank you," I replied, but inside I thought, who hasn't been there and lived there for 4 years? I will not actively get tangled up with Shen Jiayi. I resolutely refused. Shen Jiayi didn't expect him to refuse so decisively, and didn't get angry. "Lin Yu, what's that growing over there?" pointing at the corn. "That's corn. The porridge you ate this morning is made from it." Then, as we walked, I introduced the crops I could see. Shen Jiayi, who lived in the city, listened with great interest. After walking for more than 20 minutes, we could finally see the sea in the distance. Facing the sea, the distant water was dark blue. Today was sunny and calm. The beach was very lively, but most people were there for the daily low-tide harvest. At the entrance, to the left was the sandy beach stretching south. To the right was the mudflat and reef area, where most of the goods were found. Slightly more than 10 meters above sea level was a small hill. At the point where the sea met the hill were huge rocks. There was a deep ditch in the middle of the rocks. The ditch curved and spiraled, serving as a small path down to the harvesting area. But it was uneven and not easy to walk. I walked in front, going down first. I stopped to observe whether Shen Jiayi could manage on her own. I underestimated her. She was agile and had strong legs. I continued walking, stopping to observe, and so on. We landed safely. I led the way, taking Shen Jiayi to first find some clams and conch. Then we went to find the old man. I turned to look at her and said, "Sister, let's go find some seafood to add a dish to lunch. What do you think?" As I spoke, I looked at the Shen Jiayi before me. Compared to her previous life, who wouldn't like the youthful, energetic Shen Jiayi? But I really don't like her. Shen Jiayi said eagerly, "Okay. Pure conspiracy." I shivered and quickly said, "Then let's get to work. Let me show you first." So the two learned and worked. Soon they had some success. When you're in a good mood, you shine. That's Shen Jiayi. This style is very Shen Jiayi. Only by relying on herself can she get satisfaction. I took her into a more advanced challenge. Finding conch. Because we had to walk among the rocks, I was worried she might fall or get scratched. Shen Jiayi used both hands and feet. Her physical fitness allowed her to handle it with ease. At that moment, she was crouching down, holding onto a sharp rock with both hands, trying to slowly approach and step on another rock with one leg. I still couldn't help but steal a few glances. Although she was wearing a school uniform, her long legs and perky butt in that position were too alluring. Damn, you dog of a man, forgetting the pain once the wound heals. I despised myself and looked away. Amitabha, searching for conch, searching for conch. An hour passed. Sweat hadn't yet accumulated enough weight, and hung on her temples and forehead. Working hard, accompanied by sweat, her perfect profile truly gave the feeling of a sister from the Lin family. Shen Jiayi adjusted her hat with her hand, used her index and middle fingers to tuck away a strand of long hair that had fallen, and looked at me with her bright eyes. A happy smile appeared on Shen Jiayi's face. She followed closely, not caring about the mud and sweat. The two walked towards Father Lin's direction. My eyes darted, preparing the first magic trick, and I started with a big move. I slowed down my pace, waited until Shen Jiayi's steps matched mine, then turned to her and said, "Sister, is your boyfriend in the same school as you?" Shen Jiayi stopped walking, her narrow eyes looking at me, at my clear and curious gaze. She shook her head silently. I then launched my second move. "Sister, you're so beautiful. There must be a long line of people pursuing you." Shen Jiayi's face flushed slightly, whether from the sun or embarrassment, I couldn't tell. She glanced at me from the corner of her eye, and gave me a playful look with her eyes. Silence. The two walked on. I said to Shen Jiayi, "Sister, from now on, you'll be my sister. Anyway, you can have one more brother." Seeing my sincere expression and heartfelt words, Shen Jiayi's expression turned cold, as she thought for a moment. After taking a few steps, a bright smile climbed onto her face. She stopped walking and said to me, "Okay, little brother." At that moment, my heart was extremely joyful. I had finally secured the first insurance policy. I felt relieved. From then on, I had more conversations with Shen Jiayi, as long as I avoided the people and things related to the previous life. Arriving at the spot where Father Lin was harvesting the sea, I began to introduce Shen Jiayi to the methods of sea fishing and how to get more catch. About half an hour later, Father Lin dragged up his net. I quickly took the straps from the net, and with Shen Jiayi, sorted and explained the types of fish and shrimp. To keep the seafood fresh, I put the catch into a bucket filled with seawater. The bucket was made from a car's inner tube, specifically the large inner tube of a truck, inflated, which gave it great buoyancy in the water. A net was supported by ropes in the middle hole. It was very useful for transporting goods near the shore. A single rope could pull it away. Shen Jiayi loved seafood, fish, shrimp, and shellfish, so seeing so much catch made her extremely happy. She carefully sorted the catch. "Lin Yu, what's this fish called? How do you eat it?" Shen Jiayi asked. "By the seaside here, it's called fathead fish, because its head is big and its body is thin. It's good for making dried fish. Gut it, clean it, marinate it with salt, and sun-dry it until it's completely dry. Then fry it in oil. It goes great with cornmeal porridge," I said, looking at her expression. This time, Father Lin went back into the sea on stilts. He was going to pull up his traps. The traps were set deep, so he needed the stilts. Shen Jiayi looked out at the sea, patiently waiting for Father Lin's location, expecting some different kind of seafood. After nearly an hour, Father Lin returned. This time, he brought back conch, red claw crabs, and swimming crabs, also called flying crabs here. This time, I didn't let her touch them, afraid she might get pinched. With her delicate skin, it was no joke. The big pincers of the red claw crabs were too strong. If they pinched her hand, it would probably break. I quickly sorted and packed the catch. The sense of satisfaction from the harvest came naturally. This might be the gene of the ancient Chinese people. Working, harvesting, the harvest is food, and the satisfaction is the elimination of the worry of having no food tomorrow. From ancient times, eating. At this moment, I felt I had broken free from my inevitable fate. It was noon. The harvesters wanted to go home to put away their goods. Father Lin drove his three-wheeled motorcycle, loaded with tools and catch, and drove away. The two of us walked back towards the village. The tide was coming in, and the waves were getting a little bigger. On the way, the two talked more and more. I felt I had put a lock on our relationship. Please don't be stingy with your likes, subscriptions, shares, and support for the Mingjing and Dian column. She pulled me closer, and looked at me carefully. Her affectionate gaze could melt me. When you go to Bingcheng, give me a call, and I'll treat you well. Take this college entrance exam red envelope. Without waiting for my agreement, she stuffed it into my hand. I pinched the back of the envelope with my hand, feeling the thickness. I happily replied, thank you. Thinking of how good my former father-in-law and mother-in-law had been to me in my previous life, I was a bit emotional for a moment. I said to Dong Wenhua, are you sure you don't need another son? Look at me. Quick with my hands and feet, sweet-mouthed and warm-hearted, with a strong sense of responsibility. Think about it. Dong Wenhua gave me a sideways glance, and said softly, get lost. Go to school and study hard. When you have time, come visit us at home. I'll treat you well then. She didn't pay any more attention to me. She said goodbye to Zhang Fengying. Mother Shen and Shen Jiayi started the car. Zhang Fengying saw them off all the way to the village entrance, watching the car drive away. I observed my mother from behind. The reason my mother had kept in touch with Dong Wenhua for over 20 years, from early letters to later phone calls, was a kind of spiritual civilization created by that era. In later generations, classmates might have each other's phone numbers, but not contact each other for 10 years. Back then, carriages and horses were slow, and a lifetime was enough to love just one person. In later generations, no matter the pace of life, everything is fast. Sometimes even love is fast food. I decided to find a pure love. If I can't find it, I won't settle. Find someone who knows you, who cares for you, who cherishes you. That person who runs towards you from both directions. The summer wind was warm. Setting aside heavy thoughts, my heart was carefree. Happiness was most important. The afternoon sun was dazzling, especially for those heading south. Dong Wenhua had to wear sunglasses while driving. The air conditioning in the car made her skin dry and comfortable. Dong Wenhua turned her head slightly and glanced at her daughter beside her, then looked back at the road ahead and said, honey, is the countryside fun? Shen Jiayi replied, yes, it's quite nice. It feels fresh and relaxing. If you have another chance, will you come again? Mother Shen asked. Yes, if I have the chance. Going clamming was really fun. What about the childhood engagement you talked about with Auntie Jiang last night? That's a long story, Dong Wenhua recalled. Dong Wenhua pulled the car over to the side of the road. Since her daughter wanted to ask, she would explain the whole thing from beginning to end. Back then, Dong Wenhua was sent to the countryside and stayed at the youth hostel. She didn't have enough to eat and didn't sleep well. The Jiang family was one of the few in the village that could eat their fill, because the Jiang family had many brothers. Zhang Fengying was the youngest daughter, with 4 older brothers. In those days, whichever family had more sons had more power, and was not bullied. Zhang Fengying was a tough, straightforward, and cheerful person, who often took care of the gentle Dong Wenhua. Soon, they became best friends. Zhang Fengying often helped Dong Wenhua earn work points. The winter before returning to the city, the two went to the mountains to gather firewood. To gather more, they went deeper into the woods. They encountered 4 wolves with mottled coats. Dong Wenhua was paralyzed with fear and could only cry. Zhang Fengying, with her stubborn temper, saw this and immediately picked up a 2-meter-long thick tree branch and faced the wolves. Thanks to the fact that the Zhang brothers all knew how to hunt, she had learned a lot. So Zhang Fengying was not flustered. When facing wolves, you cannot strike first. You must face the wolves head-on. Hold the stick and block the side they are trying to approach from. You must have enough patience. You cannot strike to injure them first. You just have to patiently outlast them. You definitely cannot run. If you run, they will attack you from behind. People cannot outrun wolves. So, shielding Dong Wenhua behind her, Zhang Fengying's eyes were wide open as she faced off against the wolves. Dong Wenhua later calmed down, and following Zhang Fengying's instructions, picked up a long stick to protect Zhang Fengying's back. The wolves were extremely cunning. Losing patience, they howled to call for more companions. Zhang Fengying's second and third brothers, who spent almost every winter in the mountains with their shotguns, slowly approached. When the timing was right, they decisively fired. With 2 gunshots, 2 wolves fell dead. The other 2 turned and ran away. After that, Dong Wenhua liked to stick with Zhang Fengying even more. Nothing else, just that damn sense of security. Dong Wenhua sighed repeatedly as she spoke. If it weren't for Zhang Fengying, she might have died. When they returned to the city, the two were reluctant to part and so agreed to the later childhood engagement. After returning to the city, Dong Wenhua took the college entrance exam, and the two often wrote letters updating each other on their lives. Shen Jiayi was captivated by the story, staring blankly. Honey, what do you think of little fish? Do you like him? Dong Wenhua teased Shen Jiayi. He's quite nice. He takes care of people and is considerate, Shen Jiayi evaluated. Dong Wenhua looked at her daughter proudly. No wonder her daughter was a top student. Her judgment of people was really accurate. Between Wang Yu and Little Fish, Who do you prefer? Dong Wenhua continued to ask her daughter. Shen Jiayi was silent. But it doesn't matter if you like him or not. Your Aunt Zhang's meaning is that the agreement is off. What a pity. I quite like little fish. Dong Wenhua continued to tease her daughter. Shen Jiayi remained silent, just opening her bright eyes and looking at her mother, waiting. Seeing the expectant expression on her daughter's face, Dong Wenhua decided not to tease her anymore. I observed that Lin Yu has a confidence and maturity beyond his years. He doesn't cater to us because of our family's wealth. His considerations are probably based on the two family conditions. He feels that our family is too wealthy for his. Also, he probably thinks you are too outstanding. Family, looks, talent. Little fish is not bad looking either, and his grades are good, but he still can't compare to you. Putting myself in his shoes, I agree with Little Fish's decision. He's worried that everyone would be unhappy because marriage is not just about two people. Marriage is about two families. He is the best young man I have seen among his peers. After speaking, she looked at her daughter. Shen Jiayi's hands were clasped together, her two thumbs rubbing against each other. Dong Wenhua didn't interrupt, letting her daughter think independently. After about 10 minutes, seeing Shen Jiayi snap out of it, Dong Wenhua said, "If you choose Wang Yu, your father and I will not agree. Wang Yu has been too wild in his life abroad. I will not let my daughter marry such an outsider. But I have only one requirement for you. First, you need to understand what love is and what marriage is. Why did I bring you to see me? Because I believe that the child Yingzi raised is certainly not bad. His character and integrity will be good." Dong Wenhua paused for a moment. After seeing him this time, I am even more impressed. To be honest, as long as you agree, I will do my best to persuade Yingzi to bring you two together. Even if we have a wedding for you now, consider it, good at planning, good at taking care of people, smooth on the outside, but principled on the inside. He is the best choice for a son-in-law. Ha ha ha, what do you think? Shen Jiayi had a sad expression on her face, her eyes looking elsewhere. Dong Wenhua thought her daughter couldn't let go of Wang Yu, and she understood her daughter's childhood love. She stopped talking, started the car, and drove back to the city. Shen Jiayi was silent the whole time. Mother and daughter didn't communicate further. When it got dark, they arrived in Shangshan district. The villa, one of the earliest in Bingcheng, had a style from the Republic of China period. The gate security was strict. Seeing the Shen family's car, they let them in. After returning home, she called Shen Fu to help carry things. Shen Fu couldn't wait and asked if there were any cornmeal and dried salted fish. Hearing that she had brought a lot, he kept saying good, good, good. Dong Wenhua, seeing her husband happily talked about her 2 days' experiences. Dong Wenhua and her husband went into the kitchen to prepare dinner. Shen Jiayi returned to her room. Shen Jiayi bathed and changed clothes, sat at her dresser, dried her hair, looked at herself in the mirror, thought about what her mother had said, and pondered. Her facial expression changed from frowning with worry to clear-minded determination. Shen Fu helped Dong Wenhua as a sous chef and asked about me. Dong Wenhua answered somewhat annoyed. He's really good. He's definitely the best choice for a son-in-law. It's just that he seems not to have taken a liking to Jiayi. It's not that he didn't like her, but he didn't have any intention of pursuing her. He asked Yingzi to tell me to call off the engagement. Yingzi listened to Lin Yu, Shen Fu said, then fell into thought. Dong Wenhua then talked about my behavior and character. Shen Fu said, "Is he really that good? If I have a chance, I'd like to meet him." Dong Wenhua continued to her husband, "It's no use even if you meet him. I have a feeling, just a feeling, that the moment I saw that child, I liked him. I wanted him to be my son-in-law. Even if not a son, there's that kind of affection. It's an illusion that he was our son-in-law before." Shen Fu paused, a look of disbelief on his face, and said, "Nonsense. It's just an illusion caused by the heat." Dong Wenhua continued, "Believe it or not, the way he looked at me, I could tell. Lin Yu wanted to make me his godmother. If it weren't for me and Yingzi disagreeing, he would have gotten another son back this time. Oh, I'm not talking to you anymore. The more I talk, the more I feel that this kid deliberately kept his distance from us. I thought it was strange at the time, but now I understand. This kid simply doesn't want to build a relationship with our family. He used a strategy of retreating to advance. What a good move. He rejected me. I'm angry." Angrily, she threw the fish she was cleaning onto the cutting board. "You cook. I need to cool off." Shen Fu looked confused. What did that have to do with him? Dong Wenhua's chest rose and fell as she got angry at me for keeping my distance from her family. Dong Wenhua thought, "Damn kid, my cabbage is so excellent, and you still don't want it. You're really pissing off your mother-in-law." At the height of summer, the heat was rolling. Just after sunrise, you could already feel the passion like fire. The cicadas began their day of hard labor, singing. They only love to sing, regardless of whether anyone in this world understands what they are singing. They just need to be happy themselves. Another beautiful day. After the Shen mother and daughter left, Lin Yu felt much more at ease. Lin Yu pushed open the balcony window, squinted his eyes, and greedily breathed in the air. It was so relaxing. Even the air seemed sweet. Lin Yu shouted into the air, "I'm as free as the wind." Just then, Zhang Fengying poked her head out from the first floor, looked sideways at him, and said, "Get down here." Lin Yu replied meekly, "Okay, Mom." After breakfast, Lin Yu helped his father mend the fishing nets. Today at 10 a.m. was high tide, so Lin Zhengguo wasn't going to sea as early. Lin Yu asked, "Dad, is it time for the jellyfish harvest again? About 7 years?" Lin Zhengguo was busy with his work. "Not sure yet. I've seen a few people getting some these days." Lin Yu remembered that last year's harvest was quite good. The old man could get 300 to 500 jin per day, earning over 20,000 after expenses. There is a difference between sea jellyfish and sand jellyfish. Sand jellyfish are cheap, sea jellyfish are expensive. Sand jellyfish are large and heavy, sea jellyfish are small and light. After harvesting, they are de-haired, the head and skin are separated, cleaned with water, and pickled with alum without adding water to dehydrate them. Some people even collect them right by the seaside. Lin Yu thought about how he could get in on it himself. After Father Lin finished mending the nets, he put away the tools in the three-wheeled motorcycle sidecar and went home to rest for a while, waiting for the right time to leave. Lin Yu geared up and followed his father out to sea. The three-wheeled motorcycle was bumpy as hell. Days passed like this, one after another. Lin Yu lived a calm and fulfilling life, especially when the whole family was still young. Lin Yu was counting down the days until Saturday, July 10th, because on the evening of Sunday, July 11th, Uncle Wang had won the first prize. July 10th was sunny and bright. Lin Yu got up early, ate breakfast, and began making plans. Lin Yu's plan was to buy only one bet with the same numbers as Uncle Wang had won that year, keep the 6 red numbers the same, and for each of the other 15 blue numbers, buy 200 bets. If he got 4 red numbers, he would make a profit. If he got 3 red numbers and 1 blue number, he would lose a little. Lin Yu was gambling on probability. Even if things changed a little, he thought the blue numbers were most likely to change. Why buy only one bet with the same numbers? Hee. After getting permission from Zhang Fengying, he set off at 9 o'clock. Riding his beloved little motorcycle, there was no traffic jam on the way. He arrived at the town lottery station. There were quite a few people there since it had just opened. Lin Yu patiently waited in line, thinking that these people were all contributing to the welfare of the motherland. Although few people would be lucky enough to win the grand prize, they were both contributing to welfare and buying a bit of hope. It was Lin Yu's turn. Lin Yu took out the money, a red envelope from his mother-in-law, pulled out 6,000 yuan, then took 2 1 yuan coins from his pocket and bought the tickets. Lin Yu checked the tickets, and everything was correct. He carefully put them in his wallet, and the wallet went into his backpack. The lottery station owner looked completely dumbfounded. He had never seen anyone buy lottery tickets like that. Lin Yu naturally didn't know what the lottery station owner was thinking. Lin Yu rode his beloved little motorcycle to the small market to buy some beef. He had been feeling hungry too quickly lately, and wasn't gaining any weight. He thought he needed to add some nutrition. He had once dreamed of sword in hand, roaming the world, seeing its prosperity. With a young heart, he hummed a famous song from his previous life. Riding back home, he put down his things, ran to his room, and carefully stored the lottery tickets. Lin Yu saw his mother picking beans. He found a small stool and came over to help. While picking beans, he asked, "Mom, why didn't you and Dad have a second child? I would have cherished a younger brother or sister." Zhang Fengying said impatiently, "We would have been fine. In those days, who could afford that? Besides, it was hard enough raising just one." Lin Yu thought about it and realized that made sense. "Mom, I'll be going to college soon and only coming back once every 6 months. Won't you and Dad be bored?" Zhang Fengying still hadn't guessed what Lin Yu was trying to say. She glanced at him. Lin Yu said seriously, "Mom, I think you and Dad should consider having a second child." Zhang Fengying glared at Lin Yu. "Say that again, and I'll break your leg." Lin Yu had a, "How can you be like this" expression. "I'm serious. My grades are good, my major is decent, I can support myself without any problems. I won't have any issues with work or starting a family in the future. I really think you should consider my idea. I'm very serious. I'll even take care of the second child in the future. He can go to the city with me for school, starting from primary school. You and Dad can stay in the countryside if you want, or come to the city and live with me." Zhang Fengying looked suspiciously at her son's serious expression. If there was even a hint of joking, she would make sure he knew why the flowers were so red. After a long while, Zhang Fengying didn't find any sign that her son was messing with her. She said, "Get lost." Lin Yu gave an "I knew it" expression and said, "Okay." Lin Yu went to the yard, took out a cigarette, and smoked while thinking that he should have a younger sibling. Who knows when he might be reborn again. Having a younger sibling would be great. He could spank him often. While smoking, he used his hand to push back his hair and noticed it was getting a bit long. He went back inside, got some money, and headed to the village media center. At this time of high tide, those who were going out to sea had gone, and those who were cooking. At Yunji hair salon, there were no customers. Lin Yu smiled and walked in. Inside, a woman had her long hair coiled up, held by a single hairpin. She wore a half-red bra, covered by a white, thin, bat-wing shirt that just reached her waistline. Narrow white triangle panties showed through her slightly sheer white wide-leg pants. She wore milky white, thick-heeled sandals. Her jade-like face and the sheer aura of femininity. No wonder she could captivate all the men in Dragon King Village, regardless of age. Damn, I shouldn't have come, Lin Yu thought. This young body couldn't handle it. He resolved that no demon could disturb a Taoist's peace of mind. Clear heart like water. Clear water revives joy. No wind, no waves. Calm and serene. Leisurely sitting alone, the long whistle plays the kin. Lin Yu knew he had to speak first, so he said as soon as he entered, "Auntie, I'm here for a haircut." Yu Yunji heard the voice, turned around, and looked at Lin Yu. She thought to herself, good body, so masculine, so tender, a little milk dog. A smile appeared on her face. "Little fish is here. Sit down. How do you want it cut?" Lin Yu sat down, thought for a moment, looked at her and said, "Auntie, give me a buzz cut." Yu Yunji nodded in agreement. Then she took out a small spray bottle, sprayed it a few times, combed his hair, and cut it. In those days, rural barbershops didn't have a shampooing process first, nor did they have you lie down while a young lady or man washed your hair. Lin Yu then began his legendary skill of persuasion, trying to bring some welfare to the whole village. He started convincing Yu Yunji how to add a shampoo basin. That way, customers would love to come for haircuts regardless of the season. It was simple. At home, you had to boil water to wash your hair. Here, washing and cutting together would allow you to increase the price per customer. Yu Yunji's eyes started to sparkle as Lin Yu persuaded her. Lin Yu felt there was a chance and decided to up the ante. "Auntie, think about it. If people from all the nearby villages come to your shop, you'll definitely make money." Yu Yunji was still moved by Lin Yu's words, showing an eager expression. Lin Yu continued to up the ante, and with your figure and temperament, you'll attract everyone, men and women, young and old, from miles around. Just thinking about it is exciting, right? Maybe then you'll need to take on apprentices. You'll be too busy. Then you could learn to do manicures. You'll attract all the young women and girls from miles around again. You'll probably need another apprentice. You won't be able to handle it alone. Yu Yunji's eyes were glued to Lin Yu, glowing. "Little fish, what's a manicure?" She was so excited about the business opportunity that her voice changed. Lin Yu grabbed his aunt's fair, slender hand with his doggy paw and continued his persuasive magic, patiently explaining the beauty of manicures while casually rubbing her little hand. He then continued to explain marketing strategies for manicures. Yu Yunji listened happily, afraid to miss anything. 50% off during the opening period, full price after 1 month. Old customers who bring new customers get 20% off. Become a member, spend 200 yuan, get 2 free services. Recharge 100 yuan, get 1 free service. He let go of the hairdresser's hand and continued the haircut, talking as he went. Yu Yunji picked up the hairdryer, dried his hair, and cleaned up. After the haircut, Yu Yunji said to Lin Yu with admiration, "Little fish, you have to admit, a scholar's brain is really useful. If your ideas work out, your whole family can get free haircuts here from now on. Haha." Lin Yu laughed and nodded in agreement. He took out money to pay, but Yu Yunji absolutely refused. She saw him to the door with admiring eyes. Lin Yu walked home smiling, feeling triumphant. After rebirth, knowledge could be used like this. One day after waking up, he found that everything in life was beautiful. Because Lin Yu was not an engineer yet, and because Lin Yu was determined to make himself happy. For breakfast, Jiang Fengying prepared cornmeal porridge, yesterday's beef buns fried until crispy, and dried small silverfish. After eating breakfast, Lin Yu was grateful to Jiang Fengying for the meal, and said to his mother coquettishly, "Mom?" Jiang Fengying raised her foot and whipped him on the butt with a sidekick, saying disgustedly, "Talk properly, you hear me?" Lin Yu smiled, and said softly, "Okay, Mom." The old father watched from the side, smiling knowingly, a typical Chinese father. Lin Yu continued softly, "Mom, have you thought about what I said yesterday?" Jiang Fengying glared and said, "Get lost. You're going out to sea with your dad in a bit. All you do all day is eat." Lin Yu said quietly, but thought aggrievedly, "I was talking about serious business. There's nothing more serious than this. If I get reborn again, you'll still have a second child to keep you company." He couldn't help but sigh. He thought about the lottery ticket, not knowing if he would win. If he won, fine. If not, that was fate. He wasn't overly anxious. If he won, that would speed up his initial capital accumulation. If not, he would have to work hard for his first pot of gold. He smiled and went to help his old father. He was proud and honored to contribute to the family's income. The day passed busily. The harvest was good. He went to the small market and sold everything, totaling 150 yuan. He bought his old father a bottle of new Lunshan liquor and went home. At home, his mother was busy by the stove. The house was filled with the smells of cooking. After a busy, tiring day, coming home was a relief for both body and mind. The TV was playing the popular show Xiaobing Jiangga. He watched with great interest. At 9:10, he switched the TV to China Education Channel, found some paper and a pen, lit a cigarette, and waited quietly. It was impossible not to be nervous. Who wouldn't be excited to know the winning numbers in advance and buy them? Who could imagine someone going back in time and buying already known winning numbers? Who could guarantee that the lottery numbers wouldn't change? He was both excited and nervous, anxious and uneasy. The first red number was correct. The second red number was correct. The third red number was correct. Although he tried to be philosophical, his heart still clenched. The fourth red number was correct. The fifth red number was incorrect. He felt an immediate sense of extreme disappointment. The drawing continued. The sixth red number came out. In an instant, he jumped up from his chair and shouted in a low voice, "Oh yeah." He understood in his heart that it all depended on whether he got 1/3 prize or 200 third prizes. The drawing continued. The blue number appeared. It had indeed changed. Originally 07, it became 11. "Oh my God," he shouted in a low voice. "Steady, steady." At that moment he just wanted quiet, calm quiet. He smoked a cigarette to calm down. After he was calm, he took his pen and roughly calculated how much he would win for the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth prizes. After calculating, he couldn't contain his surprise. Approximately 900,000 won. He happily thought that he was heaven's favorite. The salary from his previous life had been given back to him by heaven. The NPC had opened a little crack. Yes, the foolish young man couldn't sleep for half the night. Now that the first bucket of gold was in hand, the original accumulation wouldn't be too far away. Competitive, foolish young man, old boy. I planted a seed, and finally it bore fruit. Today is a great day. He sang and danced, and finally only when he was too tired to stay awake did he fall into a deep sleep. The next day when he got up, he felt that the air was filled with the smell of money. Although he didn't win the first prize, this money was enough for him to accomplish many things. It could be considered a first bucket of gold. After breakfast, he asked Jiang Fengying for permission, saying that he had made plans with a classmate to go to Fengcheng ahead of time to familiarize himself with the environment. After listening to Jiang Fengying's instructions, he took his ID, a small backpack, and his cap, and set off for Fengcheng. The route to Fengcheng: first take a bus from town to Bingcheng. Then from Bingcheng take a train or Huoyue Express to Fengcheng. After nearly 5 hours, he finally arrived at 1 p.m. He went to the prize claim center. At the registration window, he signed for confirmation, was told he didn't need to pay any tax, received a check, took a photo with the props, and left. He went to the designated bank window and deposited the money into his own bank card. He found a noodle shop and had a plate of egg-fried noodles with apple-flavored soda. He ate 2 cloves of garlic and poured some aged vinegar into the fried noodles. Familiar recipe, familiar taste. Everything was beautiful. Coming out of the noodle shop, he took a bus to Fengcheng University. He found a seat by the window and sat down, looking out the window. It was exactly the same as the familiar second bus from his previous life. He who had just awakened his past life memories had always been a little worried, afraid it was all a dream. Gradually, he began to feel grounded and excited. He wanted to buy a house near the university, preferably in the Shengxi Meijing community by the West Gate. It was a new development at the time. In his previous life, he had just started school and was shopping for daily necessities. The sales office was displaying huge banners and there was a stage set up in front. He only remembered that the hostess was really pretty, so he watched for a while, which is why he remembered it vividly. Arriving at the West Gate, he went straight to the sales office. The sales lady enthusiastically greeted him. He first looked at the display boards. The lady brought him a cup of coffee. He drank the coffee and chatted with the lady. Her name was Yu Hui. Yu Hui smiled professionally as she looked at the rustic-looking young man. She thought this deal probably wasn't going to happen. She thought to herself, just ask quickly so you can leave quickly and stop wasting my time trying to earn milk money. After finishing his coffee, and since the lady was still patiently answering his questions, he acknowledged her professionalism. He asked to see some apartments. Yu Hui cooperatively agreed and asked which ones he wanted to see, preparing the keys. He pointed to the floor plans. Let's look at these two. One was 88 square meters, the other 140 square meters. After looking at each one, they returned to the sales office. He was ready to discuss the price. He had Yu Hui first introduce the prices. Renovated, 3,000 yuan per square meter starting. At the time, a salary of 1,500 yuan was considered a good job. He ultimately chose the 140 square meter, fully renovated unit. Appliances were not included. During the opening period, a deposit of 20,000 yuan was deducted from the price, and an additional 50,000 yuan was discounted. He liked the quiet of being up high, so he chose the 11th floor, the top floor, which came with a 50 square meter attic. The total price was 395,000 yuan. During the bargaining process with Yu Hui applied to her manager and got 100 yuan off per square meter, then another 1,000 yuan off. The total price was 380,000 yuan. He paid in full. It's not like he didn't have the money. Under the stunned gaze of the young lady, he swiped his card and got the keys. After paying the utilities and property fees, he left the sales office under the young lady's affectionate gaze. He had obtained his first house in his current and previous life, and he owned it outright. The reasons he wanted to buy a house were threefold. First, he had enjoyed living in the dormitory in his previous life, but the smell was too strong. If you have ever lived with guys in a college dorm who are also clean and tidy, you know that one or two clean people can't fix it. Those who know, know. In his previous life, he had lived in the luxurious, clean, tidy wedding house prepared by his former father-in-law. Add to that his own age, nearly 54 across 2 lifetimes. He preferred more peace and quiet. Second, living alone gave him more freedom and wouldn't interfere with his studies. Third, this was a good time to buy real estate. More houses couldn't hurt. Even if he needed money urgently, he could take out a mortgage loan. Besides these 3 points, he actually had deeper considerations. He said to himself, so clever. If only I. The sky turned dark. He felt a bit tired. He found a hot pot restaurant, ate something, then found an inn to wash up and get a good night's sleep. He should take a bath and get a foot massage, but he really didn't want to move. Tired. Man is tired. As soon as he lay down on the bed, he fell asleep almost instantly. Dreamless night. The inn's soundproofing was poor. Although he had been very tired the night before and fell asleep right away, he got up early. The mall opened, and he started browsing, selecting items, paying, and arranging delivery. By midday, he had bought everything he needed, spending a little over 10,000 yuan. He didn't go to an inn that night. Although the new house had a bit of a smell, it was quiet and comfortable. He thought about going to the school in the afternoon, but later decided against it. School would start in a month, and then, unless something unexpected happened, he would see the familiar faces from his previous life. One face after another, one event after another, appeared in his mind. The guy who wore his underwear for 2 weeks then reversed it for another 2 weeks. The outwardly tough but kind-hearted guy trying to change his fate. Shen Jiayi, who was attracted to good looks. Wang Han, who loved to drink. Li Peng, who was generous on the surface, but petty inside. The last one, the one he missed the most, was Lao Lu, Ge To. In his previous life they had the closest relationship. The corners of his mouth turned up. The big mistake all reborn people make. He wanted to take others along to show off and fly high. He despised himself for it. Next, he thoroughly cleaned the room, every corner. The summer heat made him sweat like water. He completely exhausted himself. He was unbearably hungry, so he changed clothes and went to find food. After eating and drinking his fill, he looked at the time. The night was long, and he couldn't sleep. What to do? Take a bath. So he happily decided to go to a bathhouse. There's a saying, the best bathhouses in China are in the East. At this time, there were many people bathing, and most of them were decent. But you never know. After rinsing, he called for a scrub. Add salt, add milk, add vinegar, he said. I don't want anything added. He changed into a bathrobe and went to the second floor for a Thai massage. Soon, a female masseuse came in. He sized her up and said, get another one. The female masseuse left angrily, closing the door with a loud bang. Just kidding. He didn't want to be tortured. After a moment, another one came in. This one looked good. The massage was quite comfortable. He was almost falling asleep. Finally, the young lady asked, Sir, will you take care of it at home? He shook his head, thinking, I'm here for a legitimate massage. The young lady persisted, Sir, do you want to push? He shook his head and said, I'm here for a legitimate massage. Be more serious, young lady. The young lady rolled her eyes. He thought to himself, is it so hard to be a decent person? He went home and slept. The next morning, he set off early to return to Bingcheng, then from Bingcheng, back to town, then took a motorbike home. As soon as he reached the entrance of the main room, he said, Mom, I'm back, heh. Jiang Fengying came out of the house, saw her son's beaming face, and said happily, Little fish, did you go see the school? Is it big? Is the environment nice? He understood his mother's worry about the school environment. A warm current flowed through his heart. He looked warmly at his mother and said, Yes, the school is very big, covering nearly 4,000 acres. It's clean and very tidy. Seeing that her son was quite satisfied with the school, Jiang Fengying felt relieved, and said, Son, you haven't eaten lunch, have you? Let me make you something. He happily replied, Okay, then went back to his room, changed into a tank top and shorts, and put on slippers. After eating quickly, he went to help his old father. He had finished the things he needed to do. He was proud to contribute to the family's income. Around 3 p.m., father and son finished selling the goods and came home. They had made 100 yuan that day. Change clothes, shower, eat, sleep. Get up, eat, go out to sea. Every day repeated like this. His biggest gain was that his body was getting better and better. He could eat more and more, and he was developing some muscle. But his skin was also getting darker. A week passed like this. He called Fatty. When the call connected, he told Fatty he would come pick him up and then treat him to a meal. Fatty came eagerly. The two rode the motorcycle into town. He had Fatty wait outside a cosmetics store. Fatty went in to buy some skincare products for his mother and some sunscreen for himself. He was worried that being too dark might affect how the girls at school liked him. Then the two went to a barbecue stand and started their feast. As they chatted, he analyzed the future direction of computer science for Fatty, suggesting that he needed to be proficient in programming. It would make a lot of money in the future and would greatly help him in pursuing the campus belle. Fatty looked at him with disbelief. He glanced at him helplessly, thinking he would first plant the idea. The rest could come later. After eating, they each went their separate ways. He gave the cosmetics he bought to his beloved mother. His mother happily accepted them. Don't spend money recklessly, she told him. He thought to himself, a woman's universal line. Days passed, repeating themselves. He watched the smiles on his parents' faces every day, and secretly vowed to work hard, complete his initial accumulation as soon as possible, and achieve financial freedom so he could spend more time with his parents. During this time, he took a day to ride his motorcycle with his mother to his grandmother's house, visiting his aunts and uncles along the way. No matter what, relatives need to visit often. If you don't visit, you become less close than neighbors. They stayed overnight at his grandmother's house and returned home early the next morning. He resumed his fisherman's life. Recently, jellyfish had started coming in, so he had to follow his father's rhythm. It was common to go out to sea at midnight, and after returning, he had to process the catch, then shower, eat, and sleep. The reason he had to go out again at night was simple. It depended on the tide. Generally, during the lowest tides, it was best to harvest jellyfish. The yield was completely unpredictable, just like farming. Some years there were many jellyfish, some years few. It all depended on heaven's will. When the catch was plentiful, equipment also mattered. If you had a fishing boat with a large trawl net, you could make real money. With no catch, nothing was useful. His family used to have a small wooden boat, but because his father had gone out to work construction and no one took care of it, it was sold long ago. Time flew by, and it was already August 20th. These past few days, Zhang Fengying also felt that the day of her son's departure for college was drawing nearer. She treated her doggy son better and better, and unconsciously, her voice became much gentler. He felt, oh my God, I am so happy. Zhang Fengying changed the menu every day to cook for him. He never showed his mother that he could actually cook very well. In his previous life, after all, he had been a house husband for many years. Zhang Fengying wanted to take him to the city to buy clothes. He shook his head vigorously. Mom, clothes are cheaper in Fengcheng. I'll buy them myself. Don't worry. I won't waste money. Zhang Fengying thought it over. All right, she said, and didn't mention it again. On August 25th, the atmosphere at breakfast was a bit somber. Neither the old father nor the old mother seemed happy. He comforted them. Mom, Dad, I'll be back for National Day. Cheer up. Originally, Lin Zhonghua had planned to take him to school. His father had taken him in the previous life, but this time he refused, saying he would go with Fatty. His father took him to town, where he met up with Fatty, who had arrived early. The two took a bus to Bingcheng. An hour later they transferred to a Huoyu Express. They arrived at Fengcheng bus station a little after 1 p.m. Fatty was completely disoriented after leaving the station. It was his first time far from home. He took his good brother to his school. The bus ride between their schools took about an hour. After settling Fatty in, he returned to his own house, opened the windows for air, did a little cleaning, and took a shower. He felt relaxed in both body and mind. He called Fatty to ask how he was doing. Fatty said his roommate had arrived, and he felt energized. He felt relieved, told him to take care, and hung up. He thought to himself, being an old father is hard. He made a plan for tomorrow. In the morning, go to school to register, claim his bed, pay tuition and dorm fees. In the afternoon, go to the electronics market to buy a computer, and then go to the nearby China Unicom office to schedule internet installation. He would manage on his own. He went to bed early, carefree, at the west gate of Fengcheng University, wearing a backpack, a cap and sunglasses. He was about to walk into his beloved campus. He had many thoughts. He stopped and looked into the campus. He saw some freshman boys with trendy hairstyles, handsome and milky. Freshman girls in denim skirts with long white legs. Freshman girls in sky blue bell-bottoms. Why are they all freshmen boys and girls? Couldn't they be sophomores or juniors? Lin felt that they were all younger brothers, not sisters. At the moment your foot steps onto the campus, have you ever thought about what the future will hold? A golden rice bowl, a silver rice bowl, an iron rice bowl, or we workers have strength? That's the fate of most people. 96007, the hair you lose, the coffee grounds in your blood. Some people don't even dare to ask for overtime, let alone rest. There's not much happiness in earning hard-earned money this way. He borrowed a very familiar saying, working is never going to be the answer. Actually, university is a dividing line in life. You have to believe that studying can definitely change your destiny. Classmates, just work hard and leave the rest to fate. Studying is one of the few paths for ordinary people to change their class through hard work. Believe it or not, you're on the same path. If not, believe what you want. He walked calmly towards the teaching building. He wore a long-sleeve shirt, 3-inch shoes, sky blue jeans, and a white vest. He carried a black backpack and wore a cap, under which were black sunglasses that shone brightly in the sunlight. Very flashy. Little Fei, how about the Lin look? A complete set, wash basin, blue-fitted sheet, pillowcase, yellow-white duvet cover, the standard military training square-folded quilt and pants. He pushed the green duffel bag onto his shoulder with one hand, and held the basin with the other, walking towards the dormitory. This stuff was as light as a feather for him now, no big deal. It was hot. He felt the tofu pudding he had in the morning wasn't enough. So he went to the university convenience store next to the South Campus canteen, and bought a bottle of iced tea, gulping down half. He looked at his phone. It was about time. He set off again. Why was he leisurely walking around the South Campus, not far from the Academic Affairs Office? It could be said that he wanted to verify the relationship with history, to make some predictions about future events. It could also be said that it was a meeting he had long known was destined, a coincidence. To put it less politely, it was a wait driven by lust at first sight. She had once been a song in his heart. Even though she had been abandoned and he had left for another country because of his career, that desire for first love, the urge to meet her again, drove him to linger. Even after many mental struggles the night before, knowing he shouldn't, he was still lazy. Because in her, he had once received love. Yes, because of love. People actually have the hardest time knowing themselves. Trust that sentence. He only thought about whether he should meet her once more, whether he could bear it if she hurt him again. He didn't consider whether his actions were those of a lovesick fool. Remembering the scene from that year, he quickened his pace and waited under a plane tree. He sat on the curb, fanning himself with his cap, his eyes constantly moving behind his sunglasses. After smoking 2 cigarettes, a boy appeared, holding the same type of luggage in his left hand and a suitcase in the other. Behind him followed a girl, also pulling a suitcase. They were walking towards him. He had chosen his spot with purpose. It was right here. When they were about 100 meters away, the girl's features gradually became clear. She appeared to be about 175 centimeters tall. He knew it was actually 177 centimeters. The girl wore a cap, her black hair tied up in a high ponytail that extended out the back of the cap. She wore sky blue jeans that showed off her straight, long legs. The proportion of leg length to hips was perfect. She wore a pair of white high-top canvas shoes and a white short-sleeve shirt with a light jacket over it. Her figure was perfect. The girl stopped, seemingly angry about something, and scolded the boy next to her. She was very emotional, her chest heaving a bit fast. The boy said something to her, and the two continued walking, with the girl now half a step behind. As the distance shortened, the girl's face came fully into view. Oval face, high and delicate nose, rosebud lips, peach blossom eyes, straight eyebrows. The distance between her eyebrows and eyes was just right. Her cheekbones were slightly prominent, but well covered. The features were well positioned and coordinated, like a painting, giving her face a strong three-dimensional quality. He didn't move. He was waiting for the right moment. Hunting isn't something a lovesick fool can do. The boy and girl passed by him and continued walking. The boy deliberately slowed down, pretended to adjust his luggage, and moved his body closer to the girl. By this time, he was already angry, but still waited patiently. It hadn't reached the level of the previous life yet. The girl, annoyed by the harassment, her perky butt tensing, exploded. "Are you sick, pretending to help just to harass a freshman? Don't be mad, I really didn't mean it. This is the second time. I'm going to report you to the Academic Affairs Office. Tell me your name." "Little sister, I just like you. Let's go out." The girl became anxious. "Put your stuff down and get lost." Seeing that the new girl was not responding to his soft or hard tactics, the boy put down his luggage and started to reach out and get handsy. Time was up. He stood up and walked over quickly. Since school started in 2 days and it was early, there were hardly any people on the road. The boy had chosen his timing perfectly. He shoved the boy back and shielded the girl behind him. "Go away, or I'll hit you. After I hit you, we'll go to the Academic Affairs Office and see what happens." He looked coldly at the other. "A few days of detention, or a demerit, or even expulsion. Which do you choose?" The boy, looking at him who was half a head taller, felt a bit intimidated. Putting on a brave front, he said, "If you have the guts, wait here." Then he took out his phone. He looked at him. Oh, getting ready to call for backup. He crossed his arms and watched the boy's performance. The girl's view was completely blocked by him. She wasn't nervous or angry, but she unconsciously felt a sense of safety. He turned his cap around to the back, smiled wryly, and said, "Cut the act. Who fights on campus? Get out of here, or else." As his voice faded, he walked towards the boy. The boy immediately ran off, shouting back, "If you have the nerve, wait for me, you idiot. I'm going to throw a rock at you both. Look out." He pretended to pick something up from the ground, straightened up, aimed at the boy, and threw. The boy ran for his life. He used the rock-throwing skill his grandmother had taught him as a child, to hit dogs. It worked every time. It worked on scum, too. Haha. He turned to look at her. The her of the past, and the her of the present. He slowly took off his sunglasses, and folded them on his collar. He smiled at her, showing his teeth. "Hello, mechanical engineering major, this year's freshman." He held out his hand. The girl hesitated, looking at him. She thought to herself, "What should I do? This one looks even more troublesome than the last." She looked into his eyes. They were clear and pure, exceptionally clean in the sunlight. Slowly, she reached out her hand, deciding to trust her judgment, even though her judgment about the first helper was wrong. Was there an element of gambling? He gently held her slender fingertips, a brief touch. "Hello, Shen Jiayi, broadcasting and hosting major, this year's freshman. If you trust me, I'll help you. 2 meals will be enough." He smiled, showing 8 teeth in a somewhat formal way. Shen Jiayi hesitated. Dithering wasn't her style. She decided to take the gamble. "Thank you for just now. Sorry for the trouble. I'll treat you to 2 days of meals." He shook his head and said with a smile, "2 meals will be enough, or you'll cry." Shen Jiayi. The season was autumn in Fengcheng. The air was dry and refreshing, but the weather was still a bit hot. They had been walking for over 20 minutes when Shen Jiayi took off her light jacket. He had nothing left to take off. Although his chest and back were already soaked with sweat, he felt everything was so beautiful, especially her by his side. Fengcheng University had a long history, dating back to ancient times. The roads on campus were almost all cobblestone, now baking in the heat. On both sides of the road were ginkgo and sycamore trees. Not many leaves had fallen yet. When the weather cooled down and you had to wear a jacket, the sides of the road would be covered with golden leaves, creating a very meaningful, golden avenue. He walked while observing Shen Jiayi, trying to reconcile the her of the past with the her of the present. Fragments of memory made him want to try. Shen Jiayi called him. Lin Yu, you're sweating a lot. I'm a bit embarrassed. Let's rest over there. Don't tire yourself out. There's no rush. She pointed to a plane tree ahead, her bright eyes looking at him. He put down the suitcase and bedding, stretching his muscles. Actually, he didn't feel tired at all. Although he was sweating a lot, his physical strength was really good now. Shen Jiayi took a bottle of water from her backpack and handed it to him. Drink some water first. Thank you so much. I really couldn't have managed alone, not to mention what just happened. He unscrewed the cap and drank it all in a few gulps, letting out a satisfied burp. You're welcome. Is there a possibility that I was really waiting for you? Haha. Shen Jiayi playfully blinked. Yes, there's that possibility. But how do you know I wasn't waiting for you? Huh? Watching her teasing expression, Shen Jiayi laughed happily. Her smile was like a flower, making him slightly dazed. Shen Jiayi would probably be the same as in her previous life, leaving for a distant place to pursue her career and dreams. People with dreams are respectable. They already know their goals. He was happy for Shen Jiayi, but he didn't have that intense feeling of needing to have her feelings reciprocated. However, looking at her delicate features and perfect figure, he overthrew his previous thoughts. He still wanted to try. If he didn't try, wouldn't he be the same as a coward? Try. Just try. Wasn't he just coveting her? As they talked more, Shen Jiayi's guard slowly came down. Looking at the him before her, sunny and handsome, with measured speech and behavior, he felt very safe. From her life experiences, Shen Jiayi believed that money gave a sense of security. But with him, she felt something different. Maybe it was a female intuition, very sure that he wouldn't hurt her. Could it be invisible? It shouldn't be. Shen Jiayi had seen too many handsome guys. After a short rest, he took her north to Building 12. When they passed Building 2, he said, "That's my dorm building. Wait for me here for a moment. I'll take this up first," pointing to his own bedding. Shen Jiayi smiled and put down her bedding and suitcase. He took his own bedding and walked into the dormitory. He opened the door and chose a top bunk by the window. He put down his luggage. In Building 12, he talked to the dorm mother and took Shen Jiayi upstairs. He found that she was also the first one in her dormitory. They had 4 people. With his suggestion, she chose the bed in the same position as his. He helped her tidy up a bit, then worried that his presence might be inconvenient. "Nothing else for now, I'll go. If you need to buy something and aren't familiar with the area, give me a call." "Thank you. Could I have your phone number? I'll treat you to a meal later." He recited a string of numbers. Shen Jiayi saved them in her phone. A Samsung SGH E808, a phone very popular with women at the time. It cost over 2,000 yuan. Because of its small, good-looking design, it was quite popular. After exchanging numbers, he left. Shen Jiayi politely saw him downstairs. Passing a convenience store, he bought a bottle of iced tea and unconsciously hummed, "Oh my, oh my." He didn't dare drink anything cold. He had switched to a health-preserving mode. His physique was already very strong. He was worrying over nothing. Life is precious. He lit a cigarette. Returning to the dormitory, he found the boy already there, organizing his bedding. The boy had a round face, a straight nose, a broad forehead, fair skin, thick eyebrows, short hair that was stiff and curly, dark and thick. He was Qin Liang, the oldest in their dormitory. "Hello, Qin Liang. I'm from Jicheng. I'm a member of dorm 512. "Hello, I'm from Bingcheng. I'm also a member here." He and Qin Liang each finished tidying their bunks. Then he took a towel and basin to the washroom, wiped himself down, and put on clean clothes. He sat on a stool to rest, chatting idly with Qin Liang. The classic Nokia ringtone sounded. "Shen Jiayi." "Hello?" he answered. He listened quietly. "Okay, bring your meal card and go to the cafeteria to add credit." He stood up. "Brother Liang, I'm going to eat. I won't keep you company." Qin Liang said, "Okay." He advised him not to forget to add credit to his meal card, then went downstairs and headed towards Building 12. He met Shen Jiayi downstairs at Building 8. They smiled at each other. Where to eat? The third cafeteria in the North Campus. As they walked, he explained that the North Campus had 16 dormitory buildings and 4 cafeterias. The third cafeteria had the best food. Shen Jiayi gave him a knowing look. She took out her meal card and had the staff add credit to it. When eating, you just swiped your card at each station. He showed Shen Jiayi where to get food. He got 2 portions of rice, about 1 bowl's worth for 40 cents each. Shen Jiayi got 1 steamed bun for 20 cents. He wanted 2 portions of beef, 1 portion of braised pork, and 1 portion of meat dishes for 3 yuan. Very friendly to carnivores. If you want to maintain your figure, eat beef. Add a boiled egg, it won't make you fat. As for his own choices, Shen Jiayi swiped her card, and he didn't feel embarrassed about it. He found a seat facing the TV and sat down, waiting for Shen Jiayi. Shen Jiayi went to get a bowl of soup. After Shen Jiayi sat down, he started eating like a whirlwind. Shen Jiayi sipped her soup gracefully. Eat slower, we can get more if it's not enough. He ignored her. He was a princess who could finish a cigarette in one go. He let out a satisfied burp. He reached his hand towards Shen Jiayi. What meal card? Give it to me. I'm not full yet. Shen Jiayi's pink lips parted slightly. Ah? She gave it to him. Then he carried his tray back to the food station. Just 2 meals. I was afraid you'd cry. That sentence floated into her mind. Is it really that exaggerated? But you're underestimating sister's wallet. Let's see how much you can eat. She saw him get another portion of beef, a portion of cumin lamb, another portion of rice, and 2 bottles of Sprite. Shen Jiayi thought to herself, what kind of family can afford to raise this guy? Never mind the money, just the cooking all day. Shen Jiayi finished eating and watched him eat slowly. Maybe it was just the excitement, but this was too much. 3 meals a day would cost 60 yuan. That's 1,800 yuan a month. Damn. And that was when most university students had only 500-600 yuan a month for living expenses. She unscrewed the cap of a Sprite and handed it to him. He took another bottle and drank it down. The TV was showing highlights of the Athens Olympics. He watched Liu Xiang win the 110-meter hurdles. He was excited and took another drink. After a short rest, he looked at the Shen Jiayi before him. She had changed into a black short-sleeve shirt that showed off her figure. The mystery and toughness of the jeans perfectly complemented the young girl's aura. He could smell her faint fragrance. With a full stomach and a beautiful, elegant girl by his side, he felt very content in life. What is the ultimate form of love? He turned to look at Shen Jiayi. At the same time, Shen Jiayi looked back at him. Their souls seemed to touch lightly. Both he and Shen Jiayi were startled, and immediately looked away. In a bit, you need to buy some daily necessities. I have nothing to do this afternoon, and can continue working for room and board. As for compensation, 1 meal will do. Because she often participated in performances and activities, Shen Jiayi was more mature than her peers. She felt that he was not like someone her age, even more mature than some working people. Confident, deep, not boring, witty, principled, not caring about showing his flaws in front of her. Since childhood, the people pursuing her could really be described as a long line. But with him, she felt no aggression, as if he was deliberately retreating to advance. He didn't know all the thoughts running through her mind. Are you going to consider it or not? If not, I'm leaving. I have things to do. Shen Jiayi blinked her big eyes, a little embarrassed. I want to get familiar with the place. Could you show me around? I can treat you to a meal. He thought for a moment. Okay, but first come with me to do something. What? Buy a means of transportation. But what he really thought was, is that a bicycle? That's the vehicle of love. A means of transportation? A bicycle? Ha 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 ha. Yes, a bicycle. Let's go. A youthful boy and girl walked together on the sun-drenched campus road. Memories of a hazy childhood floated through their minds. Clouds drifted in the blue sky. Back then you said you wanted to hold my hand and walk together to the end of the world. The campus radio played FIR's Our Love. He and Shen Jiayi walked on the campus road, listening to the song. He felt a little sad. Looking at Shen Jiayi beside him, he recalled his past life. But this song was very inappropriate for the moment, and brought back sad memories for him. Shen Jiayi, in the first half of her sophomore year, had taken a path towards a professional career, giving up love for her career, which caused him to not have a girlfriend until after college graduation. He thought about dating you. When a person has to give up something for their dream, that person is worthy of respect, is a determined person, even if the person they give up is me. At first it was me. Then later he heard from classmates that Shen Jiayi had indeed achieved remarkable success, and ended up marrying into a very good family. He asked himself, dare to do this again? Some anticipation, some rejection. Anticipation that the script would end perfectly, but he couldn't help feeling a touch of pessimism. Rejection was because true, genuine sweetness, there can't be sweetness. There would be the same feeling. The sweetness of first love breaking up, that kind of sweetness is the sweetness of true feelings, a very pure sweetness, full of love.